Dan Willis here, and in this video we're going to talk about a couple of the misconceptions when it comes to fixing your credit report. The biggest and most common is we hear that fixing your credit is illegal or impossible, and this couldn't be further from the truth. There's federal laws, specifically the Fair Credit Reporting Act. This is a law that was passed by Congress, and this was passed in 1970 and has been on the books all the way up until today. This gives you the right to dispute any item on your credit report that you believe is inaccurate. You will never face any sort of consequences for disputing any item on your credit report. It is entirely legal, and all the laws are there to protect you, the consumer. There are more regulations on the way credit bureaus and collection agencies can operate. The law is there for you. Another big misconception we hear is people believe they have to live with a bad credit item for a minimum of 7 years. And I'm not sure how this has come about, because the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it's explicitly, that's the maximum amount of time an item can remain on your credit report. And to clarify, there is no minimum amount of time any item must remain on your credit report. In fact, you can often negotiate with collection agencies to settle an old debt, in exchange have them remove the items and stop reporting the bad debt to the credit bureaus, so that information is removed from your credit report. The third and kind of the most frightening misconception we've heard is some folks believe that the credit bureaus are part of our government. The credit bureaus are for-profit businesses. You can buy stock in some of the credit bureaus. I believe one of them is still privately owned, but they report millions of dollars, and I believe it's even into the billions every single year in revenue. They are instead regulated and looked over by our government. The credit bureaus have been fined over a few times by the Federal Trade Commission, which is a part of your U.S. government. So the credit bureaus are not there to just go correcting people's credit reports. The reality is it costs the credit bureaus potential profit to investigate your credit report and then to remove or correct any misinformation regardless of its accuracy. That's still money that the credit bureaus are throwing or spending, and it's a required expense. Our government requires them to do this because your credit report is such an important piece of information about you. It's probably one of the most important, and as this document is looked at more and more, especially when it comes to getting a job, it is becoming even more important. So make sure you keep up with it. It's very simple to get errors on your credit report too, and this is just such an important piece of information. Don't fall victim to these public fear mongers. I don't know where these ideas come from and how they get adopted as such truths in our society. I mean, credit repair is entirely your right, and it really should be. You owe it to yourself to do it. So if you'd like to sign up for some more free credit tips, visit yourbadcreditcard.net. And this is Dan Willis. Please comment below if you have any questions or concerns. Please like this video and share it with your friends and family. And again, visit yourbadcreditcard.net and you can sign up for some more free credit repair tips. Have a great afternoon.